In this video, I want to run you through inflation and how it's going to drive property prices up in Queensland. Firstly, let's get started with inflation and what is inflation. So, inflation is essentially the devaluing of money. So you wonder why that loaf of bread, which used to cost you $1, now costs you $5, or the coffee that used to cost you $2 and now costing you $5. Well, that's inflation. That's why the price of goods are going up, and they're going up at a crazy rate at the moment. The current inflation rate is currently at like 7%, which is very, very high. And a healthy point for inflation is anywhere from 2 to 3%. But because inflation is driving up so high right now, it's really driving up, the cost to build, which is then, going to jump into why I believe the property prices in Queensland will go up. But let's jump back into, what does it mean for you if you had $1,000 in the bank? So right now with the inflation rate at 7%, you've got $1,000 in the bank. So it's going to lose around 7% of value. So that's $70. So if you just held $1,000 in the bank, you're losing $70 a year just from just holding cash. You imagine if you had hundreds of thousands just sitting in the bank, not doing anything. You're losing thousands of dollars every year. And that's where the term cash is trash. So that's why you've got a lot of people that, have cash and they put them into solid assets like property, stocks, gold, because assets go up in time. It's kind of similar to bread. You can't hold bread for over the years, but if you bought that loaf of bread for $1 back in the day, now it's $5. It's gone up in value. That's why it's very important to invest. But this is the tricky part in time right now, where build costs have gone up, and a lot of people aren't building at the moment. So let's jump into this report where it's going to show us the lack of housing that are going to get built and the amount of demand that's going to be required. So let's jump into it. Here we're in the Matusik report. So this is a company that collects a lot of data, and what they've done in this most recent report is they've tracked on the cost of the building costs. And as you can see, it's jumped up by roughly 17%. So the cost to build is jumped up dramatically. So, for example, you could buy a house in a certain location in Brisbane for $500K. So this is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. But to build that same house on the same size block, you're looking at spending around $700K. That's $200K difference. So now a lot of people are just throwing out the idea of building because it's just too expensive and going in and buying these existing homes. And the backlash from that is just showing that in this little part of the report, this is probably the most important section, is where we've got current dwelling approvals at 36,000 and then the need is at 44,000. So we've got a shortfall of 7,400 homes at the moment. So that means 7,400 people need somewhere to live, and there's not enough houses to cater for all these people. And that's why Queensland, out of all the states, is having the highest growth in rental growths, and they're continuing to grow. As rents grow, then property prices grow. So it's kind of sad the way that it's working out, but due to the housing shortage, which I'm seeing here on the ground, the property prices are still going up, and it's pretty obvious to see, like, there's just not enough houses for the amount of the population growth and also just for the existing population. This is where you can actually profit from this variance in price, as build costs are so high, and there's a massive shortage of rental properties. Number one, you can buy existing houses for much cheaper in locations where they're actually manufacturing a lot of growth on your behalf. And number two, you can get rents up so you can cover majority of your repayments. You're not going to cover 100% of the costs, but you're going to be able to recover most of the costs involved with holding that investment property. So I think by the end of this year, 2023, the market's really going to push. But by 2023 to 2024, I definitely think the market here in Queensland is going to be booming. So if you get in at the moment, you could buy properties for around 550, 500K, which is, 30Ks from the CBD, which are bargains at the moment. And the build costs, are still going to be going up in these locations. So if you're buying existing, you're saving yourself the risk of building. But then you can capitalize with that, these people that are building or they are buying these house and land packages, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be driving the prices up. And this report, if you go a bit further down, it just shows how there's a lack of multi-dwellings or, dual locks or homes that can cater for not just one family. And that's creating a massive hole in the rental market. There's just not enough houses for people. So this is an Australian-wide issue. But in Queensland, we've got minus 20%. It's not as big as Western Australia, but it's up there. It's a pretty high number. So at the moment, if you are looking to invest in a certain area, Queensland has a lot of other driving factors, but the housing shortage is a pretty obvious factor for now. There you go. Inflation's on the rise. The cost to build is on the rise. So now more than ever, it makes sense to buy that home at a cheaper price. Inflation is going to drive the real estate prices up. And if you want to wait till the end of this year or till next year, you're going to realize that the market is just about to take off. If you are looking to get into the property market, but you're not sure what style of property you're going to look for or where to buy a property, reach out to me on my website, envisionproperty.com.au. Book in a free strategy call. I'll jump on, get a gauge on what you're trying to achieve and try to point you in the right direction. Hopefully with that information, you can, take that information and go buy a home. Or alternatively, you could jump on as a client where I can find you that investment property off market and negotiate it below market value. But if you are looking to learn a bit more about the real estate market and these little tips and tricks, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. But thanks for watching.